right, guys, these two teams came in as the favorites. One of them going straight to Seattle as a direct seed into the international bracket. And the other, well, they'll fall down the lower bracket to meet the winner of VP versus Coast. But this is the match we all anticipated. It's what we all saw coming. It's what everyone thought. And it actually did work out to be not even, like, questionable. It was like both teams undefeated except for each other. And the last match was a complete clown shoes game, so it's irrelevant. But, yeah, I mean, we talked about it with Sind and Sons. I favor RoX. You favor Mouz.
Yes, I definitely do favor Mouz, but just by a tiny margin. Very tiny. I think everyone thinks it's going to go to 3 games regardless. Except for Sin, but he was only saying that just to spice it up a little bit. But yeah, between these two teams, it's going to be a very close matchup. I think it's really going to come down to drafting a lot for both teams. Like,
I agree.
Mouz, in particular, runs a certain set of strategy that they've done almost the entire tournament. They like to get that Mirana. I'd like to see it get banned in the first phase, to be honest with you, because they run it so damn much.
Yep.
And then RoX.KiS, they like to play... I mean, they have a big hero pool, but it's always the same style. Just get early towers, group up as 5, and push.
Yep. That's actually why I do favor RoX. Mouz is predictable, if nothing else. They're damn good, and it's fine to be predictable if you're that good at what you do. It's irrelevant. But, you know, whenever you have this combination of RoX, you know, these guys, you know, Go Black in particular, their drafting is so good, their compositions are usually so good, they're very creative. Mouz being predictable, I feel like when it comes down to it, it'll be 1-1, and that last game will be determined by the draft. But speaking of draft, we're underway now, so how about we head on in? Once again, this will be RoX.KiS taking on Mouz. This is our winner bracket finals here on the North American Hub, presented by Monster Energy. So taking a look at the draft, as it stands, we actually see, yeah, this looks familiar. We casted RoX a couple of times, and we saw them do something very similar to this, getting the Lycan in the tree right off the bat. Nature's Prophet and Ancient Apparition, those stacked by Mouz, and it was actually Mouz that banned the Mirana.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, Mouz banned the Mirana. That's very strange to me. And RoX.KiS, they have that type of line I'm talking about. You get your early core items and push tier 1 towers with a Treant Protector, Lycan, some of the better heroes are doing that. Mouz Sports grabbing a little bit of global potential with the Nature's Prophet and AA.
Yeah, the Nature AA kind of keeping things open. RoX actually ran a lineup very similar to this. I can't remember who they were playing. It was Coast, actually, now that I think about it. RoX was playing against Coast, and they went something like they went a Lycan, a Nature's Prophet, and Invoker that went pure Exort. They had up 3 book 3s, and just from howl damage alone, like the swarm of summons that were just crashing against the racks, crashing against the towers, was just completely overwhelming. So RoX not going to be able to execute the exact same thing, but something along those lines.
Yeah, at this point, they're not going to get, like you said, not the exact same thing. The Invoker is banned at this point, so they will not have that under their belt. But what could they possibly do? But Mouz Sports, they did draft the Nature's Prophet and Ancient Apparition. They are playing into Lycan. I'd like for Mouz Sports to find a way to go aggressive. Like, if you let Lycan free farm at any point in the game against like a Treant Lycan, you know RoX.KiS is going to pick something else to help push at some point. If you let them get their basic farm, it's going to be a death ball that it's going to be very hard to stop if you don't shut it down early. So I'd like to see some type of aggressive play coming out of Mouz.
Well, Mouz staying true to form. We just brought it down, but we had the most picked heroes on both sides. And yeah, the Ancient, the Apparition, the Wraith King right on that list for them. I totally agree with you, by the way. RoX, we have seen, if you give RoX enough room to breathe early, they can just kind of ease into the late stages of the early game and on into the mid game. They're one of the best in the business. And I don't just mean in this qualifier, I mean in the world, at being able to exploit just a break-even kind of a laning phase, just because that's how they play. Like, even when they're down, they play aggressive. When they're ahead, they certainly play aggressive. So it just allows them to go, okay, we have everything we thought we should have, and now we can play our game, and you have to match our tempo and match our style. But Mouz switching it up a little bit, showing us a Troll Warlord pick. That's fun.
They have done this once before with the Troll Warlord. They have Fado play at mid, but I'm still a little worried here. I mean, you do pick the Wraith King, which is a good aggressive hero, so I think they're going to go aggressive with the AA Wraith King combination, but at some point this Lycan's going to have a book, and when you're playing a Wraith King, especially support Wraith King against a book Lycan, it's going to be very hard to like get into the fights without losing all your mana, dying, and not having that reincarnate. And the second thing I am worried for about as well is, on Mouz Sports, they don't have much defense. Like, if they ball up on RoX.KiS, it's going to be very hard with these Wraith King and Troll picks to just hold the line.
Well, they're lacking very, very heavily on reliable disables right now. And like you said, RoX doing what they do, playing aggressive. And it's not even that RoX is better in that department. Yes, they have Coil, but other than that, they don't have reliable stun either. They have some things that can shape the fight. Bane helps them out a bit to have grip and Nightmare if you want to use it that way. But now, with the tree and the Bane, I actually feel like that's chancy as hell for Mouz to try and aggressive into, just because if you make a mistake, you can be punished so unbelievably heavily and end up giving Lycan even more room. But just given RoX.KiS's style, you need a lot of control, and they are kind of lacking on that. And like you said, the defensive capabilities a little spotty at the moment.
Yeah, right. It's going to be very hard to aggressive against Tree Bane. Two heroes that, first of all, are very hard to kill. And on top of it, they both have good control, and the heal with the Howl, they can get a lot of right-click damage on. If you thought Tree hit hard normally, wait until you get some Howl damage. That's gonna be very painful to go into. But they do have the AA Wraith King, and they also have the Nature's Prophet that can reinforce the tri-lane if needed. So it's gonna be interesting to see what RoX.KiS put on that off lane. If it is a hero that can really abuse the fact that Nature's Prophet goes away, maybe some hero that can push the lane out a little bit, or a team fight like Tidehunter might not be bad as well, or even the Puck wouldn't be too bad. I guess Puck could go off lane or mid, we don't know for sure, but so far Mouse Sports, I'm really surprised on what they're trying to do with this lineup here, because I feel like they haven't put the pieces together yet, and that last pick really has to do that for me, or else I feel like they're in some trouble here.
Yeah, I'm right on board with you. It's like you look at Mouse Sports' composition, you can see some cool things that might work out, but where's the glue that holds it all together?
Yeah, scattered.
Yeah, where's that hero where you go, oh, okay, now that hero helps X, Y, and Z, and that makes sense because they're going to go ahead and go Tidehunter, so taking that away from RoX, as you said, could have been a potential pick, and now, yeah, I mean, the lanes. That's kind of curious. I mean, if you assume a Troll Warlord's going to be mid, that would make that either a farming Wraith King or a farming Tidehunter.
It's most likely support Wraith King and that aggressive tri-lane with a Tidehunter Wraith King AA because they do have the double melee, and Anchor Smashes does so much work against those melee heroes, especially Treant Protector. If he has like 90 base damage or something, you can remove 60% of that on top of the Lycan too. So I think they're going aggressive here. They have to go aggressive, and they have to get to a really good start and start snowballing, or they might be in big trouble. And we're going to have a Brewmaster, so I guess it will be that off-lane Puck. And Brewmaster is one of the better heroes in fighting mid-game too, so as I predicted, this is going to be two teams that like to play really aggressive early, and we're going to see a lot of action coming to like 15 minutes or even in the laning phase just from that tri-lane. I
love that stat, by the way, that just popped up. Golblack with 74 matches on Treant Protector, more than twice as many as any other player. Dude, he was picking Tree back before he was in vogue. He was the progenitor of my Ban the Tree 2013 campaign.
Yeah, he's a Tree hipster.
But yeah, like you said, both of these teams like to play aggressive, and both of these teams place a high premium on performance in the early and mid games. So, like, honestly, I think this series goes to a full 3 games, but I would not be shocked at all if we didn't see a single game go longer than 35 minutes. Like, that would not be outlandish to me at all.
Yeah, I mean, both teams play aggressive early, and they like to capitalize on their advantage. RoX more so than Mouz, but we'll see how it pans out. And are they going to be doing an aggressive, a passive? Oh, MSS is playing the Wraith King, so this looks like it's going to be a core Wraith King and a support Tide.
Yep. Knew it was going to be one or the other. And, yeah, farming. All right, so coming in from the production desk, apparently they've had 3 different players play that Wraith King. So they value the hero, but certainly flexible in the way they can draft it out anyway. Looks like there's not going to be any crossing of the river, so how about we take a look at our lineups before the horn blows, beginning with Mouse Sports. We'll see Pycat on that Nature's Prophet. Elsewhere in mid, that's going to be Phaeton. No surprise to see him on the Troll Warlord. Will end up being Misery on the Tidehunter, as we spotted that out early. Should be a support Tide with a farming Wraith King. Poss will be on the Ancient Apparition, and that Wraith King, as mentioned, going to be played by MSS. Other side of the river, we're going to have Yol handling the Bane. Up on the top lane, we'll have BZZ playing on the Lycan, helped out by Golblack on that Treant Protector. We'll have the Brewmaster played by Solo. He'll be handling the solo mid lane. And in the off lane, going to end up being Sadoy. So, yeah, still waiting to see. Does look like it's Mouz that's going to be wanting to aggressive trialing.
Yeah, as I was saying to Jeff, they kind of have to at this point. And it's really smart as well. They put a Stout Shield on Misery, so they have 2 heroes with a Stout Shield in the front line to make the tri-lane that much more strong. So it's going to be a tough tri-lane. I'm not sure who I favor in this tri-lane. It's going to be very close. Neither of them have a really weak tri-lane, but I think Mouz definitely has better kill potential if someone gets caught out of position.
Well, we can see they are meeting up right now. A little counter ward action being done by Mouz, so trying to keep them in the dark. But yeah, that top lane feels like it could go either way. It just comes down to decision making, because you've got excellent heroes on capitalizing on mistakes, positional mistakes, and so on. Like you said, Bane and Tree tough to bring down in and of their own right. Tree certainly can help anyone out. And, yeah, I feel like it's going to be make or break on both sides for the most part. The other lanes, they're certainly going to play out the way they do. But both have to not only, make sure they get the job done here in terms of farming and such, they just have to make sure they don't give up a lot of ground.
Yeah, they definitely can't be dying in this lane. And that Treant does like 108 damage with Howl activated. That is insane. Jeez. But they do have Anchor Smash, as I was saying. That's one of the better heroes they could have picked to deal against these hard right-clicking melee heroes. So if he gets a good Anchor Smash off, I think Mouse Sports will win any engagement. But it's all about positioning for the most part.
We can see they're moving in and abusing this pull to go ahead. Nope, there's going to be a Nightmare, actually. And let's see if they want to engage. Yep, they are. There's going to be the Hellfire Blast on the BZZ. Misery gets off the Anchor Smash, but BZZ able to make it back to his own tower. Now it's Yol and Goldblack going to work on MSS. Poss there doing what he can. MSS is very low. Howl damage is legit. Let's see. Does he? Yeah, he's not going to be able to catch him. One more auto attack might have been all right, but he's actually just going to try to grab the creep wave and only got one.
I think if Mouse does it perfectly, they're going to be a lot stronger, but they didn't get... It's really awkward for the most part. If you get the Anchor Smash off, which they didn't, and then they get the Chilling Touch on top of it, the minus damage that they will hold, yeah, Howl will help with it a little bit, but they're still going to have much more damage with the minus damage and the plus damage from Chilling Touch. They will win any engagement, but they just need to stay together more next time.
Taking a look at the lanes elsewhere, we can see Brew is actually being bullied around very badly by that troll in mid. Phaetot dominating that lane, 12-5. Still very early on, and Brew likely to make up some ground eventually, but for the moment, Solo definitely coming out on the bad end of things there. Top lane remains a bit quiet. At bottom, the Nature's Prophet going up against that puck. It's roughly a break even, 11-5 to 10-4.
Yeah, that Troll has always been known for like one of the stronger laners in the game. At some point, he was picked like mid every single game because he was the strongest laner. There was a slight nerf to his whirling axes. They do a little less damage now, but he's still like he can just bully solely with a miss % chance, and he can just get in there. And he's really I didn't expect him to win his lane this hard, but he's doing a great job here.
So far, that top lane remaining a little bit quiet. Let's talk about the Nature's Prophet and the puck a little bit. Very important for both, but I feel especially important for RoX.KiS. As aggressive as they like to play, Sadoy getting a good start down here, getting his levels, but more importantly, getting an early Blink Dagger. It's just going to give them so many more options in terms of how they want to move and pressure Mouse once we get to about 15-20 minutes in.
Yeah, this puck is going to do tons of work, especially because on top lane, like Nature's Prophet, I'm sure they wanted him to move around and fight in top lane, but they're not finding any openings.
Yep.
So Nature's Prophet just has to sit down and farm when I think their game plan was to totally overrun this top lane, but that's not happening.
No. This is just RoX.KiS. I mean, they're one of the teams that, and we've talked about it even on air, the idea of aggressive tri-laning and using that kind of lane pressure as opposed to rotations. And most professional players, yourself included, have said, that's just, with this patch and the state of the game, that's just so chancy right now in professional play. But RoX is one of the teams that routinely still does it. And I think this is something they're just really, really used to, actually. I don't think they mind being in this situation. They're playing it pretty damn well. The Lycan at 14 CS is in great shape. And the Wraith King that's farming, he's at 12, so he's not coming up too short on farm.
Yeah, looks like Yol, he's going to be just fine. He's going to steal a haste rune, but looks like they're probably not going to get anything out of it. Troll is really hard to kill with that Stallet Shield when he goes into melee form. He has bonus HP. He's up to 763 health. Not an easy kill whatsoever. But on this top lane, whenever you're playing as a Lycan in particular, whenever you have like a break-even farm, you have to be happy with that against aggressive trialing.
Here we go. They're going to go for it. Goldblack in trouble. This could be our first blood. Will be our first blood. And drawn by Pycat. There's that rotation you were talking about. Something we expected them to do maybe a little bit earlier. Nonetheless, they get it done, and they get on the board, 1-0.
That is definitely what they needed. They needed to just get into this lane, and now they can just force this lane out completely with the Nature's Prophet and take the tower. And this will probably be our first tower down. I'm not sure if they can defend this. I really doubt they can defend this, actually.
Yep. They'd have to rotate more help. And Puck looks like he's happy down in bottom lane, not wanting to abandon that. Sadoy just continuing to farm up. Has his phase boots. They're going to engage on the BZZ. This could be a big kill if they get it, and they certainly will. They're going to chase him all the way back. Tree Armor's there. There's going to be a coil, though. Rotation comes in, and he's actually still alive. Sadoy cleaning house. Mouse loses 2. They might lose 3. MSS and Poss making a run for it. The Wolves are right there with him. Little right click, and down he goes. Huge rotation. Sadoy said, yeah, I like bottom lane, but not enough to forego a triple kill, or a double kill as the case may be. 3-1, And they end up losing their tower, but fantastic rotation, capitalizing on a slight overextension from Mouz.
That was beautifully played by RoX. Like, no matter what, they were going to lose their tower there, but Puck grabbed the TP scroll, was level 6, and that was so close for the Lycan there. He almost died, but the beautiful living armor followed up by a coil. He just barely lives there, and that could have gone better for RoX. They did lose their tower, but they got a good trade out of it.
Tree's pretty good hero, dude.
If you play it right, it's a very good hero or a very bad hero, as we've seen. And this game, it's doing decent so far, I want to say.
Yeah, he's like the lane held together. I mean, yeah, they gave up a kill, but that was very much a Pyrrhic victory for Mouz. Like, it's great that you draw first blood. It's great that you bring the tower down, but man, that cost him so much. And Puck just getting that extra little boost to his early game is going to make him a much more likely threat moving ahead to the mid game. So if you're Mouz, what's the next step? Where do you want to pressure? That top lane, not as big of an option now.
I mean, you kind of get limited on what you can do at this point. I think you just put the Nature's Prophet in the jungle. Yeah, he's going to do that, and then you just kind of sack top lane at this point. So what they're doing here is actually very smart. They're just putting Tidehunter. They drafted a hero that can stay on the off lane after the tri-lane dissipates, and then they're just going to put Wraith King farming on the bottom lane, just trying to max efficiency here. That's all they can do for now, and maybe get some kills. And Yola is going in for some warding, it looks like. He only has a sentry. I'm not sure what his plan is over here, but nevertheless, he's roaming around down in the enemy jungle.
Taking a look at Solo, he's got up his brown boots, stout shield, and a wand, not a whole lot else, but he's about a third of the way now. A little more than that, actually, to his Blink Dagger. So Blink Dagger on Solo would be a very, very big deal. Do you feel like Mouz has really gotten enough out of this laning phase, or do you think RoX.KiS is happy with the way things have panned out?
I definitely think RoX.KiS is happy with this, but I also feel like Mouz, at the same time, they've gotten enough done. They got the tower, they did get first blood, and they're doing all right on levels. Only the Ancient Apparition is struggling a little bit in the level department, but Fada still is, he's going to be, we haven't talked about him all this game, but he's still like sitting mid lane, just top CSer, and at some point he will get back into this game. He's going Chainmail. I wonder if he goes for it. He's either going for a medallion or a mech, and I'd like to see the mech. That'd be interesting. I've never seen a mech troll before, but I don't see why not.
Hang on, in mid, Solo could be in trouble, got the clap off, Fleita in trouble as well, and down he goes.
Oh, the courier. Looks like the courier's going to go down as well.
Pycat! Yes, got him. Got him! As Pycat taking the chance. Nothing on it, but nonetheless, the courier down for a solid 3 minutes now. Yeah, nice little pickup. Basically, a tower's worth of gold for the team.
Yeah, that was definitely good, but they did lose their troll, who was doing the best on their team by far. And losing him early is not good. Lycan does have his Vlads up, so they are going to go for an early Rosh here. One thing we didn't talk about is Cedoy he's going to have a little late blink this game because he chose to go for those phase boots, which wasn't so bad. When he rotated top, he got 1 extra kill because he did have the phase boots, so it was definitely worth it. But looks like Panda is also pretty far away from blink too, so they're not going to have blinks for at least until 13, 14 minutes this game.
Yeah. Well, I actually don't think that's as big of a problem. We actually have a disconnect, so BZZ gonna have to reconnect. But when you look at Mouz's team, you know, the laning phase, you know, it's where they wanted to get most of their work done. But think how long it's going to take most of these heroes to come online to do their purpose. Like, the Troll, yeah, he's off to a great start. He's the top of the CS board. He's going to be an influence. I actually like the idea of him getting a mech to free up gold for the Tidehunter to get a, let's see, yeah, he is going mech, so he's already got up the buckler now. But, like, you know, just basically let the Tide get a Blink Dagger, because they very much need that kind of initiation, especially with an AA. If you can land a big ult and a Ravage afterwards, you're in great shape. But the Nature's Prophet takes time to gear up. He can split push, but he's not a huge threat in team fights. Warlord, he's going to do his job. The Skeleton King, though, this is where I think that pick maybe could turn out to be a little bit more problematic, because for RoX.KiS, once the Blink Daggers are up on Puck and Brew, they're good to go, and the Lycan is a Lycan. He hits R, runs at you, and hits you really, really hard.
Right.
And I feel like their team is actually going to come online a little bit earlier than Mouz's, and the Skeleton King, or the Wraith King, excuse me, in particular, I worry that they're going to be able to get as much out of that as they want. Of course, killing him once just sets up, you know, reinitiation from Mouz. But how do you feel? Like, how do you think that these teams stack up over the next 10 minutes or so?
I mean, right now in this particular Rosh fight, Mouz is going to have a hard time defending this. They do not, two of the big spells that they need, they do not have. Actually, 3. Their 3 teamfight spells will be Ravage. That is not online yet, so it's going to be very hard to defend. The second spell, Reincarnation, that is still not up. Those 2 heroes are both level 5. And the third spell is Ancient Apparition Ice Blast.
Yep.
He's only level 4. That is not online. The only spell that's aren't online for RoX.KiS is going to be Fiend's Grip and Treant Root, but they have Coil and Panda ult and Lycan ult up. That's sufficient to fight here.
Yep.
So Mouz, I don't think they really have a chance to go ahead and fight this fight right now, but once they get their ultimate's up, it's gonna be tough. Fighting into Panda is always difficult. It's like, it feels like you kind of have to bait out that Panda ult. Fighting into it really early is really difficult. But I worry a little bit for Mouz. Pycat has to get very farmed on top of this Nature's Prophet because Fada kind of just forgoes his like late game ability by going for this mech. Right. And the Wraith King, he's doing okay in farm, but he only has treads up right now and is level 5. It's mainly levels that they're really struggling on Mouz, and they need to get these level 6s fast.
Yeah, like I think for the Wraith King, and you touched on this, it's, you know, it's why you run a support Wraith King. You know, Wraith King go, okay, get level 6, and if you get items, great, we'll put that to use. But just run ahead, hit your stun, die, everyone's slowed, then we initiate on top of that. When you have him in a core position, that's a much more risky way to take fights, because now you're sending someone who you've dedicated farm to, you've dedicated experience to, that should be doing more than just running in, dying, and landing stuns. You know, that's a support's job. Now you need him to be a core. You need him to fight like a core up against RoX.KiS. And I feel like, yeah, like you said, he's got treads up. The levels matter the most, but what it's going to come down to, I think, especially if we get to a point, which I'm sure won't be super long from now, when BKB start to come out. You know, what are they going to do then if the Skeleton King or the Wraith King isn't very, very far ahead?
Yeah, and usually you see the Wraith Kings, when you do want to run them as a core, like to get a Midas up early so they can get ahead. Very often I see Wraith Kings being played in a core position, not get that Midas up, get under-farmed, and he doesn't have the greatest comeback utility. No. Like, he can go to the jungle and farm a little bit, but he farms kind of slow for the most part. So without that Midas, it really hurts him. But still, this next... I'm not sure why Mouz is trying to fight this, to be honest with you. I don't think they can fight this. They don't have their ults up, but they look like they want to, so that's a little worrisome for me.
I think they just want to try to delay it, and yeah, it looks like they've rethought it. They're backing off now. And not liking the way it's going to match up. Like you said, they just don't have what they need. Now, Golblack's there in mid. He should be able to defend that tier 1 pretty safely. Yeah, they're going to be fine, because now Solo's there to help out, and if worse comes to worse, Solo could always just use his ulti to scare them off. That would be an effective usage. They just take a free Roshan with absolutely nothing given up. That's a huge win at this stage of the game.
Well, that's going to hit really hard, that Nature's Prophet, so that is up. But still, they have no ults here, so we'll see. I feel like they should just give this one up, but it looks like they want to fight.
Yep, they're moving in. I don't know, everyone is kind of hurting. They don't have Ravage up, still short on that. Golblack going to be the one engaged on. There's the coil and the finisher. MSS now in some trouble. He's just going to stand and die, but Brewmaster uses ulti behind that. Feta, the one who's really in shape to do damage, has to run as he's just being banged away. Good Nightmare, actually. Very well played by Yol. They're going to secure the kill because of that. There's a buyback on the Tidehunter amidst all that, and now they're going to get Poss as well. And yeah, looks like our concerns were, oh, nice Sprout. That might be enough to not just save their buddy, but to get him out of trouble. Yeah, Sonoy ends up being a return kill, but behind that, they're moving back into the rush pit. And it looks like Mouz is still not about to give up. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and buy back on the puck to make sure they get this.
It's dead.
Yep, Misery, Nightmare. There's going to be an illusion picked up by Pycat, but now Lycan with an Aegis. He may just come charging out and see if he can find someone. Nope, instead just going to turn around.
Yeah, that should. They ended up buying back on the tide as well. I think they only lost the puck there, and puck, he kind of overextended there. He didn't have to go that far. He kind of got baited by the magic stick, so great play by Poss with that bait there. But as I was saying, they couldn't fight there. It was literally impossible with the no ults up, no Wraith King ult, no Tide ult. What other ults do you have to fight? Ice Blast, that was not up either. So they kind of, that was kind of a mistake by Mouz in my opinion.
Yep, like you said, it's one of those situations, and you know, we always talk about it as casters, where it's like sometimes you see teams, you know, they're getting their tier 3s and their Raxes wrecked, and they don't even try to defend, like they're all there, but they don't fight. Because sometimes it's like, okay, we can either fight, lose 5, and lose Rax, or we can just lose Rax and hope to get back into it afterwards. And that was definitely one of those situations where you're just like, you don't want to give up a free Roshan, but you're also just, you gave up more because you did try to commit so much to defending the Roshan.
Yeah, and it was a really good play by RoX.KiS there, knowing that they were stronger and forcing Mouz into that situation. Like, they weren't scared at all. It's like, we're just going to keep doing Rosh. We'll do it slowly. We know they can't do anything about it. And they just baited Mouz into that beautifully.
Well, everything kind of calm for the moment. But the items now making their way out to RoX, as we saw. The Courier respawn. That was a medallion pick up there as well. And now the blink's done on the Brewmaster, and Puck should be getting very, very close to his. We'll take a look at his gold first chance we get. But yeah, there's Brewmaster. Finish with his blink, and those items, yeah, we're just about back to even. I feel like that's actually very favorable to RoX to be at even at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and especially if they can defend all their towers, because they do have the Treant. They lost the tier 1 top, but if they can hold their other 2 towers, get some split push going with the Lycan. I mean, not even split push. I think they're going to group up whenever they can with their particular lineup, because they're very strong in 5v5 engagements. And Lycan, he's going for that Necro book. He is nowhere close to it. Solo blinks in, doesn't find MSS.
MSS able to make it away. If you're Mouz right now, what's your approach in the next 5 minutes of the game or so? Because it's, it's very, very important for both teams, obviously. But I feel like in particular for Mouz, to not only
grip on top lane.
Yep.
Oh, the rainbows.
Rainbows. Care Bears on the way. There's going to be an Ice Blast coming in as well. But yeah, a little late to the party. But yeah, now Feta is actually going to be caught with an overgrowth. Here comes the puck on top of it. This could be a big kill. He actually used his Panda ulti as well. They've got more coming in. Tide should be 6 now if he wants to ravage, and will. Manages to catch everyone. They're going to try to turn this around. They lost Bane already. And Feta leading the charge back out. Sadoy will be able to make it away just barely to the high ground. Hard to believe no one actually died there. Solo actually came back in, and now he's in trouble because of it. That wasn't even necessary, so sold out to try to save the puck, and instead ends up sacrificing himself when puck would have been fine.
Yeah, that was very strange from RoX.KiS. They went in, blew the Panda ult, cycloned him for some reason, and puck coiled nothing because of that, and that bought time for the rest of Mouz to come in, and they're going to get a tier 1 tower off that, so that is huge for Mouz.
There you go. Tier 1 down. Interesting fact for Feta. Love our stats guy, of course. The fact that for any dedicated mid player, he actually builds mechanism more often than anyone.
Yeah, some teams like to have like certain people that they like to have as their like dedicated mech builder. Most people have it as their off lane, some as their mid, but apparently Fata usually does it from mid. Yep.
And it's working out for them now. That's a big win for them, by the way. We were talking about just leading up to that, how good of a situation it looked to be for RoX to be at a break-even point right now, and their items are coming out. Off of that, we see the Wraith King finish his Blink Dagger, a handful of other items complete for everyone else, and that's going to put them a little bit more back in the driver's seat. BZZ wasn't in that fight, did manage to split push down the Tier 1 bottom, so at least getting something out of it, and he is atop the net worth chart, but yeah, if Mouz can continue to take fights like that and punish mistakes and the overextensions of RoX, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was worried as well. Like, Mouz seemed to be in a kind of a rough spot due to the nature of their lineup. They did have their ultimate, which was good, but RoX.KiS just played that very sloppily, to be honest with you, and I doubt that'll happen again. That's one of those things that just happens once, you're like, oh god, what just happened there? Yep. That's not going to happen again.
Yep. Well, and these guys, they played together long enough, they're experienced enough that they will make the adjustments. Here we go, they're going to come in. Goldblack going to be the one caught out and focused down. BZZ's in the fight this time, going to work on MSS after the overgrowth. There's a coil as well, manages to catch 3. In the meantime, Misery goes on a killing spree by bringing down Yol. MSS back up with that ulti, now re-engaging onto Goldblack as he's the next on the list to take a spill. Lycan has that Aegis, but is actually opting to just run away at the moment, not liking the way this fight is playing out. Looks like Sadoy should be able to make it away safely, but another big win for Mouz, keeping that tier 1 up in mid.
Yeah, I don't think they noticed the Wraith King had a Blink Dagger grip that fight. Good initiation by him. They killed the Wraith King, but you've seen it so many times before, how important that Wraith King ult is. Like, the last fight by the Roche, they didn't have it up, he just died. If he has ult up in that situation, it's a totally different fight, as you saw. He goes down once, slows everyone, you have to retreat, but it's very hard to retreat when you're moving 75% slower. It slows your attack speed too, so it's actually really ridiculous. You just can't fight when he's dead, basically, and reincarnating. And they didn't even use Ravage there, so RoX.KiS, just off that one mistake, find himself in a situation where they find it hard to fight, and they need to fight with their lineup.
Yeah. I mean, they do have the option, but even that's kind of sketch. I was going to say, even if they're not confident with fighting at the moment, they can at least try to rat it out and split push with the Lycan, but really, they can only do that so much because of the nature's Prophet. Prophet's going to be there to stunt that in most cases. Lycan still has his Aegis, and we'll see if they want to fight, but I agree. Like, you don't pick a puck and a Brewmaster in a tree to go, okay, now let's just farm for 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You pick that so you can go fight, and you can make room for the Lycan to split push, but yeah, Aegis is down now, and Mouz threatening that tier 1 bottom.
It's going to be a big deal, too, if they manage to take this out without spending it.
Yep, they're going to move forward. Let's see, Ravage is off cooldown. They have it available if they need it. Troll using his ulti and just pecking away. He's got a whole team behind him. RoX has some support there, and yeah, they're going to be able to get this tower.
Looks like they're going for a trade in mid lane. They have no glyph, so he should be able to get that easy peasy, but can the deny come in?
Yep, there's a Sprout. Here comes TP's in as well. It's going to be 2. Fata's right there. He uses the ulti, trying to find a way out. And MSS right there with the blink and the stun. He's being helped out by tree armor. Looks like that should be enough to get him away. There's going to be an Ice Blast coming over as well. And the Wolves actually being as annoying as they can. So they do end up getting a trade, but still, yeah, this is where RoX really should be putting the screws to Mouz and not just trading even, I don't think.
Yeah, and he almost died on BZZ there. He needs to buy a Calling Blade. You don't play against Nature's Prophet as a Lycan without a Calling Blade. Like, he's going to get controlled so hard, so I think he really needs to pick up a Calling Blade right now, or else he's just going to sprout at every fight, and then he's going to be pretty useless. So,
Cage the beast.
Yeah, it's just most Lycan players realize, okay, he's still not getting one. That actually could play a huge factor in the next team fight if he does not pick up a Calling Blade. But looks like he's opting to get for the fast book instead. A little risky, but we'll see how it works out. And they're going to go ahead and smoke down to bottom lane. Lycan appears to not want to be in any fight and just want to split push. That seems to be RoX.KiS' plan.
I'm actually really liking Mouz and how they look right now. Like you said, RoX sticking together. Problem is, Tidehunter now has a blink. So you've got 2 blink heroes, 1 long-range initiator, 1 global presence hero, and the such. And yeah, like they need really good claps and really good waning rifts, I think. Like that's where they're going to get their work done. As Brew has to jump in, clap 2 or 3, then split, cause chaos, and let the puck come in with the waning rift and the coil afterwards. Otherwise, Mouz, with their initiation and counter initiation potential, is just going to punish them so heavily.
Yeah, at this point in the game, actually, I feel like RoX.KiS should be split pushing, because if you look at their levels, like Wraith King, he's only level 9. He's going to be farming slow. He's going for full battle build. Same with Fada. He went mech Vlads. He's not going for any type of farming or late game build at this point. They're all going so far in on this early game and just relying on Pycat for the late game. So if they can dodge some fights, but it looks like they're not going to be able to dodge this one.
Yep, Yol caught out, gushed, and brought down Trees there, doing what he can to help. But they still will be able to bring him down with a handful of auto attacks. Looks like they wanted to come in there, but unable to collapse quickly enough, not only to save their buddy, but to re-engage. That's a slight net worth lead now for Mouz Sports, but still very, very close. We're just about at 20 minutes now, Fear.
Ravage used on solo top.
Yep, solo Ravage used on solo. And, yep, here's the split. Let's see if they can get anything out of it. Ancient Apparition ult was there. He's trying to run that Earth Spirit away and being pursued. They're teleporting in some help, and let's see if they want to do anything with this. Nope, actually they're going to throw the rock. Puck could have jaunted in. And looks like they do want to try to maybe take a fight right now. It's 5 up for each, but Panda ulti is now down. I guess in fairness, so is Ravage. So we'll see if they want to move out for the moment. Mouz is not batting an eye. They're ready to go ahead, face up, and try to man fight. That's going to be a book 3 now done on the Lycan. RoX moving in with solo. There we go. There's a 2-man clap. Let's see if they can follow it up. Immediately, BZZ uses the ultimate behind that. We can see a coil, did connect, manages to catch a couple. Nightmare there to take Misery out of the fight. He got the grip off as well. No one down yet, but soon to be, as Phaeton does end up taking a spill. He's going to be reincarnating on the Wraith King. Now MSS back up and ready to fight. 2-for-1 exchange, buyback on the tree as he wants to come back in. MSS, his ult is on cooldown. And let's see if they can catch him. He'll be down for realsies, and they do. Solo finishing things off with the clap. Poss now being pursued. They're going to be able to up. Gigantic win right now for RoX.KiS. And that's exactly what I was saying beforehand. Like the ability to reinitiate if you're Mouz Sports is huge, but if RoX is able to get the fights on their terms, that can happen.
Yeah, I was a little worried too, seeing that Panda ult was down. Yep. I guess the Ravage was as well.
Exactly.
And then I was still watching BZZ just focus down the Skeleton King or Wraith King, but he was able to magic stick at the last second and still get his ult off. So I was like, okay, this might go really badly for Mouz, but somehow RoX.KiS still destroyed that fight. Lycan's just really strong at this stage of the game. I think he had book 2 only that fight, but he does have book 3 now, and a fortunate Roche spawn is up as well, so they're probably going to be able to take that too. So I'm not sure how RoX.KiS won that fight so handedly, but they managed to do so.
I think Ravage is just so integral to Mouz's ability to fight. You know, Panda ulti obviously is important, but solo can contribute other things. I mean, he's going to be able to use hang on. Yol in trouble again in mid. This is going to be a second time dying here for free, but let's see. They want to come in. Gold Black's there. Yep, they're going to pop the waning rift. There's going to be a coil. Only caught 2. There's a clap, and now the ulti going to be used as they clean 1 up. Tide tossing in the air, and it looks like Mouz just wants to vacate. MSS does not have mana, and it wouldn't matter if he did. It's still on cooldown. But yeah, they actually use the overgrowth behind that. This fight is kind of spread out some. MSS does end up taking a spill, and that's going to be BZZ securing the kill on top of everything else. Ancient Apparition tossed in the air. They're going to be able to get at least 1 more. There's going to be Ravage, and let's see if they do want to fight it out. Nature's Prophet teleporting back in. They do get Gold Black with the Ice Blast. Solo caged in now, and yeah, they should be able to bring him down as well. So it ends up being a much more even trade following the buyback, and they're going to move in and try to take Roshan on their own now.
If they can get that, that's huge. They had to use Pykat's rebuy on that one, so he did buy back. So that was down. So RoX.KiS still came out a little ahead in that team fight, I want to say. Ravage is down yet again. Panda ult is also down, but looks like they can't do Roche, which means I think RoX.KiS is just going to go in and do it now that Ravage is down.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end you can see it was a fairly decent swing for RoX. But yeah, positionally, I think they're going to be quite happy with that. Especially just being able to take MSS down, take him off the map for a little while. His ult was still on cooldown. And that's just more time he's not farming and gaining levels. And like you said, Roshan now vacant, and they're going to be happy to move on in.
And this is the problem with that Wraith King, like being played as a core position. He has items like he's a support at this point. He's only level 9. Level 9. He's not even leveling his crit up. He does no damage whatsoever for his team. He can initiate, which is fine, great. Tide can also do that. He has Blink, so they have 2 initiators. This Troll Warlord has pure support items. He does no damage. PyCat is going for a Hex, so he's doing okay because he does have that Shadow Blade up, and he's basically their only damage source right now. It's just, I feel like Mouz is going so hard, like all in on this early game, and it's getting to the stage where I feel like they're not getting enough done, especially losing the last fight, and I guess they kind of lost that last fight. With the Roshan going down, they definitely lost it.
14-11. Hard to believe it's actually just 24 minutes in. Feels like a much longer game. I'm not even sure why.
A lot of action, that's why.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just been about a kill a minute, though. Like, a little bit over that, I guess. But for the most part, just feels like a much longer game. The movement it started so early, and they haven't really stopped. We've already seen Roshan die twice, too. That tends to give you that impression as well. Up at top, we can see Mouz trying to take a tower, and currently undefeated. Here's going to be a TP in from the Prophet to help things out as well.
They're going to get it. There's no TPs on Lycan or pretty much all of them for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, just Lycan and who's the other one? Panda don't have one, so they can't defend that. They do have the Agdams up on Panda as well, which is kind of a big deal. Like, being able to use Drunken Haste is a huge factor here, because when you're playing against Troll in particular, when he pops his ultimate, if you're not hitting anything, it kind of counters the ultimate completely. And
right. Ice Blast on the mark, catches 3. They're going to glyph it as well. Let's see if they want to teleport anyone in. Nope, they're just going to go ahead and force the back up at top. But they're not decommitting from down in bottom lane either. So did their best, but doesn't look like they're that concerned. Tier 2 takes a spill. That'll be Sadoy taking the last hit on that. We can see the net worth beginning to grow quite largely on Lycan. There's going to be a Sprout on him. He's got help behind him, though. Solo tosses out the Drunken Haze. Armlet finally picked up on the Wraith King, so maybe he'll be a bit more of a right-click threat. But for the moment, it doesn't look like either team's too particularly interested in fighting in bottom.
Yeah, that Wraith King is, if he needs to kill like about 1 or 2 more creeps, and then he'll have his level 2 ultimate. If he would have died again with that level 1 ultimate, that would have been disastrous for them. But his right click still isn't going to be that good because he doesn't have that many points in crit. Like, Wraith King is a hero that does not do much damage unless you start getting good crits off. And at this stage, playing as a Panda, he's going to have Drunken Haze on him. And for some reason as well, this Panda went for stats. He has 3 points in stats instead of maxing out Drunken Haze or Drunken Brawler. Not sure what the point of that was, but that's going to give him a little more chance to hit, I guess. Not quite sure.
Sometimes people just do weird stuff, dude.
Yeah. And BCC, still, he's not getting a Quelling Blade, but he's going to have a BKB next fight. If
Really
he gets
mad
sprouted,
about the Quelling Blade, huh?
It's such a big deal in my opinion. Like, I've played Lycan a lot, and I've seen a lot of Lycans. When you play against Nature's Prophet, having that Quelling Blade is super important. It's very, very important. I can't stress it enough, but he's going to have a BKB soon, and luckily PyCat is not leveling his Sprout out. He is just going for stats instead, so even if he does get hit by it, it will only be a 3-second disable.
All quiet on the map, and has been for a while. We saw the trade of the Tier 2s, but for now, everyone seems to be quite happy, just farming away. Very close to a dead-even game, by the way. You're talking less than 500 gold separating these two teams, so at least for the moment, this series living up to the hype and being the close affair we all thought it would be. Experience slightly in favor of Mouz, but even that is marginal at best. There's that BKB we were talking about before, though. And this is where things start to really get sketchy for me with Mouz. Like, especially with the Wraith King needing so much more to really be a damage threat. Phaeton going with much more of a helping hand kind of a build, if we can call it that, on the Troll. It's problematic to me because now, okay, you've got Ravage, that's awesome. You've got Ice Blast, that's awesome. But where's your damage? Like, is Nature's Prophet seriously your biggest right-click threat right now? That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, that's kind of how they drafted as well.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw their lanes when they did that core Wraith King, they kind of went all in on, well, either way they would have all in on the Nature's Prophet, but he does have a Hex now, and I guess their logic is get Nature's Prophet really farmed, and if it goes super late game, the battle trance with Nature's Prophet is no joke, because he does a long-range hitting hero, and when Troll does finally build some DPS items, he does have 3.4k gold up, so he can start going for damage now finally. And I think Mouz is in that position, it's like, okay, we just need more damage now at this point. And if it does go super late game, Mouz will have the better lineup for the ultra late game, but RoX.KiS definitely has the map positioning right now, and if they want to go for a big push into the base, they can.
Just look at how quickly that tier 2 melted, dude. Like, he arrived there at full health, and it was gone. Basically, in the time it took you to say a sentence, it was gone. That's how punishing this can be. And looks like RoX might be willing to go for more. The mech is up on Gold Black, as mentioned. And this could be a time. Let's see. Yeah, at this point, they'll probably wait on the Necro Creeps to come off cooldown. No, hell no. Solo just moves up.
They're indecisive, you can tell. They're not sure what they want to do. They're losing their tier 2 bottom, and they don't want to do that, so they're going to back up. That is the right call. Yep,
there you go. So, Sadoy heading to deal with that. If you're Mouz, how do you approach the next 10 minutes or so, getting from 30 to 40 minutes?
I think they need to play on the defensive. I don't think they can really get too aggressive at this stage. They need more damage, because right now they're having a hard time killing heroes. They do have the better late game as well. Nature's Prophet did pick up a Hex, but at the same time, this Puck is getting really close to his Hex too, and it looks like after he farms these dragons, he'll most likely have that. So, Mouz, they just want to take it easy and farm, whereas RoX.KiS, they have an advantage, and they'll probably, once they get their books up and a little bit of laning, or lane equilibrium, they'll go ahead and try and push some towers. And that'll be when Mouz will respond.
Well, for now, they are taking it easy, staying on their side of the map. That Aegis will be reclaimed in 30 seconds, so not too much longer until another Roshan will be available for RoX. RoX has actually done a great job, and, you know, we talk about it in general terms, but, you know, especially with lineups like this, having the Roshan advantage by being on Dire, you really can't just not abuse that. And they've done an excellent job so far, and I think that's one reason they have been able to weather the storm as well as they have against Mouz for that, and of course just good lanes. We can see Mouz is actually trying to do some aggressive movement at the moment. Ice Blast not going to catch anything. The rest of them were smoked through down near the bottom rune spot, but nobody's home.
We're gonna have a counter smoke too.
RoX.
And that is a fresh Hex on Puck, so if they get the jump here with the Hex on Puck, I'm not sure who they used it on. Maybe the Troll Warlord. I mean, using on Tide's not going to be that great because of Kraken Shell, but we'll see what they do here.
I actually feel like if they're able to bring down the Tide Hunter, it could be a big deal. Let's see if they're going to try. Yep, he's going to get the Ravage up, but the BKB was already deployed. It got everyone. Let's see if they can actually initiate off of this. One already down. That's going to be Yol. Didn't get a whole lot done. There's the Overgrowth, though, and now Fata using BKB of his own, doing what work he can. BZZ in the meantime just chopping away. The Wraith King is down for the count, and he did not reincarnate, so one only imagine those creeps burned his mana off, and he was unable to get back into this. Down goes another, as they end up losing Troll and the Wraith King. And that's a pretty big win. Solo still going to work, giving Misery the beatdown, and yeah, he will be able to make it away. So, but in mid, at the very least, Pycat looks like he's in a position to maybe take a tier 2.
He should be able to get it. Do we have any TP scrolls?
Yep.
Look, if they can hold this, is a big deal. They do have a Tree and Protector, but it looks like they're going to hold it, and they're going to be able to heal the Fool. So they just need to kill that Siege creep, and then, yeah, looks like they're going to get it. And Wraith King did not get his ult off. Like, that level 3 book, as I was saying, it's really risky when you're playing a Wraith King against that. I was kind of surprised. For no other reason than them putting that as a core for just seeing Lycan is such a natural book holder.
Right.
And just like picking a Wraith King and having it be your core hero and just be like, okay, every team fight, I'm going to have the possibility of not getting my ult off. And the other fights, they did a good job of getting it off, but against that book 3, it's going to be really hard to do. And he looks like he's going for his BKB now. He does go for the Mithril Hammer. But this Wraith King is just so underfarmed. He is so unbelievably underfarmed. He is having
so little impact right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially, like, the most impact you have with that hero, for the most part, is your ultimate. When you get mana burned completely, you can't even do that. So I'm not sure if Armlet was the right choice here either, instead of going for that BKB so you can't be mana burned. But this is, I don't know, we were worried about that Wraith King support, I mean, not being a support, and it's kind of...
Well, they ran him as a core, and it made sense in the context of, you know, trying to put together an aggressive lane. But when that doesn't work,
done it as support too, though.
Exactly,
the Tide could have been core.
Yeah, I actually would have preferred that heavily.
Me too.
Something that's, you know, just going to run this by you. Given the problem he's having, maybe it's time to pick up Soul Ring. Like, I know it's 800 gold you want to put towards other things, but if you not being able to maintain your mana for your ulti is becoming an issue, buy a Soul Ring.
Yeah, I think it's too late for him to do that now. He's committed to his BKB, and he's getting close to it, so I think that's going to be more important than a Soul Ring, but playing against any heroes that can mana burn you as a Wraith King, getting that Soul Ring very early is very useful, and a lot of Wraith King players do forego that, and I just think they haven't played it enough, in my opinion, to really realize when you need a Soul Ring on that hero. But he's not going to get it for now. He's going for that BKB. He's considering, you would say he's not very far off, but how slow Wraith King does farm as a hero, it's going to take him some time, especially because there's nowhere for him to farm right now.
Yep.
Nature's Prophet is taking most of the map, and they're running around looking for kills. So now it's in a little bit of a tough spot here.
Roche is back up, and looks like RoX.KiS well aware of everything you were just saying. Mouz being in a tough spot, having to play ultra defensive. They're going to go ahead and take advantage of this. They're going to move on in, and this is pretty crippling. They're not going to be able to defend it. They're either unable or unwilling, as, yeah, I don't know if they have any idea it's happening, but it's irrelevant. Like, they can just drop Roshan so quickly now that you just have to be around the pit if you want to try to prevent it. That's going to be not just an Aegis, but cheese as well. And, yeah, that's going to go to Puck, and I'm sure Lycan will be the one picking up the cheese.
Yeah, Lycan did pick up the cheese as well. And Pycat has to be some type of huge damage source very soon. And he also needs a BKB for the most part because, I mean, it sucks for him because he's doing so much damage for them, but Panda ults, and if he doesn't have a BKB, he's just going to get cycloned in the fight, and then he's just going to be doing nothing. But if he goes for a BKB, he's doing no damage.
Exactly.
So he's, like, in kind of a rough spot here. Wraith King, like, his time to shine is over. Like, at some point, if this game goes, like, ultra late game, like 55 minutes plus, then he'll start kicking in. But for the next couple team fights, he's not going to be a damage dealer. He's going to be more of a utility initiation. Hopefully he can get that ult off. At some point, like, Wraith King needs to die in team fights. I guess it's kind of weird to say, but his ult is so good. Like, him dying in team fights wins you team fights. So he needs to find a way to get his ult off in the team fights to be most useful.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with you. And, you know, that's... we talked about him. We knew the possibility was there, you know, during the draft. The issue of, you know, the Nature's Prophet and the Wraith King taking so long to come online. And like you said, Wraith King at this point is much more fulfilling much more of a support utility kind of role, even though he is taking farm. Problem is, you can't have a whole team of nothing but supports utility. And that's kind of how it feels right now. Like, they just don't have that heavy hitter for the most part to get up front and to deal the damage and to be that big threat. And even though the BKB is now done for the Wraith King, that's nice, but at the same time, more damage coming from Lycan as he gets up a big item as well, MKB.
Yeah, and they got 2 BKBs up there. Pycat did go for that BKB. He realizes he does need it. Troll has one, so they have triple BKB right now, which is okay, but you're playing against a Treant Protector and a Bane, so it's not even the greatest. And just to clarify real quick, the Monkey King bar, for people like, why did he get Monkey King bar? It's mainly just for Troll. His whirling axes make you miss 60% of the time. Yep. He just doesn't want, whenever he has this BKB down, he doesn't want to get caught out by that and not be able to get any damage off.
Good call. Good call. Dropping knowledge bombs. Looks like they're threatening the tier 3 mid now. Nature's Prophet trying to find a way to split push, but looks like RoX.KiS knows this is their time to shine. And they need to find a way to move in. We can see Misery doing what he can, moving in with the anchor smash. Buys him a little bit of time, but BZZ feeling very brave up front by himself. Now there's actually going to be a clap as well behind that. They're going to engage in, and Tide looking to get into position. He's actually going to end up dropping, and I don't know that he has buyback gold at this point. There's a coil on MSS as well. Yep, he does have buyback, so Tide looking to come back in. He's going to teleport right in and look for a Ravage. Yep, there it is. Misery trying to get the reinitiation off. Aegis goes down. There's going to be a feeds grip on the MSS, though. He does have his ulting. They're all grouped up, and he has plenty of mana for it, so no, never mind. Not going to be an issue anyway, as it looks like Mouz has managed to stem the tide and force RoX.KiS back. Good Sprout going to cage up Golblack, and he should end up dying as well. BZZ just going to teleport straight away. Yol manages to make it away as well. Sadoy phase shifts, tosses the orb, and will be able to jaunt to it. But very important win there for Mouz Sports. Cost them a buyback on Tidehunter, but all things considered, not that bad.
Yeah, they got the Aegis there too, so... Wait, did they get the Aegis on Puck?
Yeah,
they did get the Aegis, and on top of it, I'm not sure where the cheese went, they probably used that as well. So they used up all of their consumables there, but they did... Ravage did go down, and on top of that, Tide did have to rebuy, so they did hold the line a little bit. They lost their tier 3, but that's pretty much as well as it could have gone for them.
For now, Mouz getting a little bit more aggressive and moving on to RoX.KiS' side of the map. And, you know, how concerned are you with the way that last fight went if you're RoX?
I mean, they do have this window of where they need to get things done. I think Panda they had a game plan and it didn't work as well as they wanted it to. Like, their game plan was Panda, just do like the zoning Panda ults, just get in there, create some havoc, and just have the Lycan beat down all the buildings. They did do that, but I don't know. It wasn't that good for them because they managed to get the Tide, but they committed so much to the Tide, and he had rebuy, so they have to keep rebuys into consideration. I think next time they do that, they can take that same approach, but they have to be a little more careful, and Panda can't go that deep because he popped his ult way back there. Troll just ulted, and they killed like 2 of his aspects almost instantly.
Yep.
So just a little more patience, I feel, from RoX.KiS, and I think they're still in good shape.
BZZ, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I like the, they definitely did just kind of fight that wrong. It got a little too chaotic. MSS still had his ulti up at the end, even if he needed it, which he ended up not needing it at all. Looks like they might want to get aggressive again. Ravage is down, at least for the moment. Everything is up on their side, and I'm actually not sure how long Ravage has. Maybe another 30, 40 seconds,
18 seconds.
18, so yeah, so
and the bigger thing for me is Glyph is down, so I feel like if they just go in with Panda can do the same thing this time. Lycan just focuses the Rax. They can actually just get a Rax, and I'm not sure if they can get out, but they can definitely get a Rax here.
Lycan isn't even there right now, though. Like, he was way back in the jungle, and he may end up getting pulled back by the split push from Prophet. Prophet has headed back to the Hoos, but is Treant's going to be able to keep the pressure up there? And yeah, that's a little weird. They ran down as 4, and Lycan was all the way back in his own jungle, still farming away. He is on top in terms of net worth, but the Prophet right there with him. Here we go. Creep summoned. They're going to go ahead and commit to the Rax and see if they've got the goods. There's going to be a Ravage and cut a couple. Panda ulti behind that, and a nice Fiend's Grip catches MSS. However, they're losing so much in the process. BZZ has to turn and run. They already lost the puck and the tree, and they're likely to lose more if they're not careful. Panda about to reassemble. Another few seconds on that. Yol will end up dying behind this, and now there's Solo able to blink away just barely. But yeah, they lost 4-0 there. And once again, Solo blinked a little too deep, I think, used his ulti, and it's feeling very ineffective. And in the meantime, Pycat now pushing that tier 2 bottom.
Yeah, Mouz is playing this really well, but for, like, BCC, he didn't BKB. The Tide blinked on top of him and ravaged him. If he would just BKB, he could have got that Rax and probably just got out. But he ended up dying without doing nothing because he just got chain stun there. And I don't know, if you're a RoX.KiS fan right now, they're in some trouble. They're definitely in some trouble after those two team fights.
Yep.
They got that feeling right now. It's just like running into a brick wall at this point.
Yep. They're about to lose all their map control as well. There's the tier 2 mid gone, that tier 2 bottom not in the best of shape. And how often do we talk about it? Like, so much of a tree's effectiveness is being able to maintain map control. But granted, it is 40 minutes. You have to be realistic with your expectations. But at this stage, it's 17-17, and you're tied in towers with the enemy team. So Mouz largely taking that part of tree out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, right now, all tree this is still a good tree game in particular because of the overgrowth, because they do have the 3 BKBs.
Right.
He's dying every fight, I think, before even getting it off. He's playing up a little too close, getting hit by the Ravages. I will say from Mouse, like, the initiation with the Ravage and then the Aghanim Scepter A-ult has been on point. So, like, these team fights have been very hard for RoX.KiS. And at this stage, like, it's not going to get any easier, because as I was saying, when we get further on into the late game, Mouz does have a better late game lineup with Battle Trance on top of the Wraith King and the Nature's Prophet, and you're kind of like going all in on your Lycan in mid game. This is just how RoX.KiS plays. They go all in on mid game, so they're not the best late game team. In fact, I would consider them a very weak late game team. And the later this game goes, the harder RoX.KiS is going to have, harder time they're going to have.
Yeah, we haven't even really been talking a lot about the Troll Warlord, but, you know, like you said, all in on the mid game. It ain't mid game anymore, man. You're at 40 minutes. Like, this is officially the late game. And all of those heroes that were so sketchy for Mouz in the early, hey, what's up, Misery? Just hanging, just kicking. But all of those heroes that we were so worried about, they're beginning to come online in a much bigger way now. I mean, you look at Pycat, he's got 5,500 gold set aside for himself. The Wraith King is finally beginning to get up, you know, into that category where, you know, basically Wraith King, 3 big items isn't enough. He needs like 4 to really begin to feel it. And yeah, he's almost there. BKB, Armlet, Blink Dagger's done. Now he's got 3K gold tucked away. Solo did get up the Assault Cuirass, and that's nice. But the way that Mouz has been handling these team fights, I definitely think they're at the current advantage, and RoX is going to have to pick a new way to either initiate these fights or to take them.
Yeah, they definitely do, and like at this point they're gonna go for Monkey King Bards as well, so kind of like Drunken Haze and all that good stuff that he does, his dodge, will be removed. And the big problem for them is like we were talking about how they're so all in on this Lycan's damage. Tidehunter is a great counter to that. You can just blink on him, even if you don't get your Ravage off. If you get the Ravage off on top of him, of course, it's even better, but realistically, that's not going to happen. But the Anchor Smash works on all of his summons, it works on his heroes, so he's going to be doing 60% less damage, which hurts him a ton. And then you have the Battle Trance on Mouz, on top of that Chilling Touch. So, like, the buffs they have, and then the negative buffs on top of it is, like, really strong going into the late game for Mouz.
RoX.KiS definitely looks like a different team almost. They're playing super defensive. They have not split up. Maybe just waiting out the next Roshan and really saying, okay, things haven't gone our way, and if we take another loss or two, we're going to get ourselves into a deep hole. So instead, we're going to wait a couple of minutes, and yeah, Roche will be back up in just about 70 seconds or so. But, you know, with Cheese and Aegis, maybe they'll be in good shape. They do have the dire advantage, so no reason not to abuse it. But I don't know. Like, how do you see this playing out? You know, assuming they take this Roshan, which looks like should be the case, what do you think we should expect looking ahead? Do you think RoX still has the ability to pressure Mouz the way they need to, or do you think Mouz has maybe turned this game completely around?
Mouz has completely turned this game, and I don't even think they're going to get the next Roche. Mouz will contest this next Roche. I'm almost certain on that. I see no reason why not. Like Panda, we talk about time and time again. He falls off later the game goes, especially against this troll who he's like about 150 gold away from that Monkey King bar. So he's going to start becoming a factor as far as damage goes. Like this whole early game and mid game, he just went all mid game items. Now he's starting to get some damage up. And he can instantly kill all these Panda illusions, just pretty much from the word go. As soon as he pops his ult, all of them will just get destroyed. And then Lycan's going to get controlled heavily by the Tide Hunter. Then you have that Wraith King, like, who was easy to kill before, but now is definitely a problem. And I think Mouseboard should defend this Roche, but if they don't do it quickly, we saw how fast it melts.
It looks like RoX is even anticipating it. Yep. Getting into positions, and they're going to be...
It's dead. They can't defend it.
So... you think that's enough to get RoX over the hump? You think they're going to be able to have a better chance in the next couple of fights?
I don't think it gets any easier for them. And seeing as the last two fights, they did have Aegis Cheese, they still didn't get their racks.
Yeah.
So they have to have like perfect execution, I think, if they want to have any chance of getting a racks or get a pick off.
I feel like Solo, in particular, they need a lot out of him. He has picked up a halberd, by the way. Yep, there it is. Done now.
They have so many BKBs, though.
Yeah.
And they're all going into MKBs, which is... actually, Evasion does stack. I forgot this patch, so Drunken Brawler will stack with the Heaven's Halberd, but I feel like every single hero now is just going to make Monkey King bars on Mouz. Like, every single one of them. And yeah, Pycat, he's getting close to... he finished his Monkey King bar, and we have the money as well for Troll for Monkey King bar. He may save for rebuy, though. And the Wraith King up to 4.3k will probably go for one as well, so I'm not sure about this Halberd pickup.
MSS. 4,300 gold in his pocket. See if he wants to save for buyback, aka rebuy. Shoutouts.
Yeah, I think they all want their rebuys in particular before the next fight, because you can just do it as we did last time. Go in there, have everyone focus you, just buy a little time so they don't hit your racks, die, rebuy, and then just get back into the
fight. I agree. Well, for now, looks like the lane's just going to be pushed out a bit. We'll see how committed to this push up top RoX.KiS is. Looks like they definitely want the tier 2. And honestly, they're getting into a territory where they need to kind of be willing to sell out now. Like you said, the game is not going to get just magically back in their favor with more time and more farm. The heroes on the side of Mouz just do better in that regard. They're going to end up trading tier 2 for tier 2. And let's see if they're going to go for it. They're still hanging around. Looks like Mouz wants to retreat. They've got Poss back at the house. Solo went back on his own just to make sure there was no push through, but yeah, that's fine if you're Mouz, I think. Just trade even, know you're in a better position the later the game goes, and reset and wait for the inevitable push that is to come.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed, but AA has an F blade now.
Oh, no, I didn't actually.
Yeah, he has an ethereal blade and an Aghanim. He is so farmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Mouz wanted to trade there because they just wanted to get buyback money on top of that, their Monkey King bars. And as soon as they get Monkey King bars and their buybacks, they're in a position where they are looking so good, and RoX.KiS, their lineup as usual, it kind of fell off like 10 minutes ago, to be honest with you. And they just have to get literally perfect team fights if they want to take these fights.
Yep. I feel like Mouz has done a phenomenal job of, I mean, they're running as a group and that helps, but for the most part, even when they do split up, they have not given RoX.KiS any opportunity to catch anyone. Like their movement, their decision-making has been phenomenal, and it's not for lack of trying on RoX. RoX has played a bit more defensive in the last few minutes, but for the most part, RoX has been doing things like moving as a group, smoking, etc. Their movement patterns have been designed to try and find a hero that's out by himself, and Mouz has just given them nada. I mean, and we're at 17-17. Seems like it's been that score for a long time. Yep, Puck caught in mid, and he's going to end up shattering here. Nature's Prophet secures it with one last right-click, so not only do they fail and catching someone from Mouz, he ended up giving up the puck. He's down for 70 seconds now.
Yeah, and Pycat's up to 5k gold again, so he's most likely going for a Daedalus, and he's going to be hitting hard. He's going to be hitting really hard. He could be going for a Mjolnir as well. That's also a good alternative, but I think Daedalus, when you have that troll on your team, is probably the best pickup. And yeah, there's nothing they can do about that. Like, RoX.KiS at this point, they can't group up because Nature's Prophet is split pushing, and it's going to be hard to team fight because Mouz is now at that point where they do so much damage, it's really hard to fight into them. So they're just kind of biding their time, hoping Mouz makes a mistake, and it doesn't look like Mouz is going to make a mistake anytime soon.
Yep. Definitely feels as if RoX had just missed their window. They had a much better than expected laning phase. They had a fairly solid mid game. They had a much bigger lead at one point. And it wasn't so much they were leading like by the pure metrics. It was they were just, you know, after the laning phase, they shouldn't have been in a break even, and they were. And their heroes and their innate abilities, the development of just some very important items, the blink daggers and such, was right on cue. And they had every opportunity to close this out, but Mouz gave up nothing but a tier 3 and kept all their racks standing, and now they're in a great position looking ahead. And yeah, for those curious, that's only the 6th time on record that an Ancient Apparition has purchased that Ethereal Blade. So.
Yeah, you don't see him get this farmed very often.
No. And when he does, you don't see him buy an Ethereal Blade very often. So you're witnessing history, guys. More ways than one. But this actually turned into a passive farm fest, which is kind of surprising.
I mean, Mouz, they don't need to do anything at this point. And RoX.KiS, as I've been saying, like, they don't feel like they can push either. So they're just hoping they can get a pick off and make this game go in their favor. But Mouz is leaving no openings for that.
Aegis down in 60 seconds. They've got one hiding at the edge of the map. That's going to be Phaeton. He has a TP, and yeah, he'll use it immediately. Ooh. Solo came in very close. They had no idea, no way to know, but they were very close to catching him, so TP off cooldown just in time. And Mouz now looking to counter smoke. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you kindly. That looks like that was Misery that drew that. Just telling us exactly where they're going to go. And they're going to have a chance to catch someone. That's going to end up being the tree. He is invis. Yeah, he's going to pop it. So they know where he is. And yep, spotted out and brought down. So Goldblack down for 50 seconds now. And we're beginning to see just how hard Mouz is able to hit at this stage of the game. We haven't even really seen Phaeton with Battle Trance really go to work the way you would expect. But this next big fight, if they are able to keep the Nature's Prophet alive, we'll see it come into play in a big way.
Yeah. RoX.KiS, they had a window, and they knew it, and they missed it. They had 2 chances to take a Raxon. They weren't able to get it, and then at this stage of the game, it's just, you might as well play it out and hope Mouz makes mistakes, but there's not much they can do.
Yeah. Mouz collapsing now, looking to assault one of the tier 3s. Looks like it's going to be top. Yep, thank you very kindly. Appreciate it, Misery. Drawing stuff for us, pinging it out, telling us where he's going. Shiva's now done on the Tidehunter as well. If you're RoX, what's your one hope? Like, what, if you're in the captain's chair, are you telling your teammates right now, Fear?
It's a tough one, because they're just so farmed right now, and you're just like, you just need to find the pickoffs. Like, go for smoking, use this puck heck and initiate, get someone that's just farming a side lane by themselves. But Mouz has been doing such an incredible job at just splitting the map and not getting, and having really good map awareness and not getting picked off.
Yep.
So you can't just go down mid right now anymore and 5-man into and hope to take the racks. If we might as well go to the buybacks at this stage, and it'll pretty much show you that, like, Mouz does have rebuys, and if you do go into them and they have all these rebuys up, you're not going to do enough damage. Like, you can't kill them twice. They're too farmed, and they have a 6 panic actually.
Yeah. Talk about farm.
Nature's Prophet, so they can't push anymore. They can only hope for getting pickoffs or get a good defense. So Mouz will set the tempo for the rest of this game.
The luxury satanic for Pycat. Lifestyles of the rich and German. Actually, what nationality?
He's Swedish.
Swedish, yeah. I was going to say it. As soon as I said it, well, lifestyles of the rich and Swedish. That'll work. But I'm actually surprised that Mouz, as you said, is playing this as passively as they are. But when you put it into context, these are games that are going to determine if they go straight into the field. Looks like they're done. Sitting on their laurels, though, and they're ready to rush up. Phaeton gets eyes on him. BZZ runs right past him. BKB immediately ultis as well. Desolator now done on the brew. He's going to come in, use the ulti, but BZZ just being brought down so quickly. And, yeah, Phaeton really going to work now. Not worried at all. There's going to be a coil, and the Ice Blast to follow, but the coil not really accomplishing a lot. Buyback on BZZ. He's going to come back in. Pycat's still just doing so much damage. He will be locked down with the Overgrowth now, though. And, yeah, that's just a flat-out win for Mouz. And most likely that's going to be a flat-out win for this game as well.
Yeah, they just don't have the damage anymore. Their lineup fell off so hard around the 30, 35-minute mark. And now we're at that, like, 50-minute mark, and that Wraith King now finally has an Assault Cross as well, and they're going to go in and, yeah, they can just do that, and this game is basically over now at this point. They can't defend anymore.
And wouldn't be surprised if we saw GG sometime soon. Like you said, I mean, buyback is not there for the Brewmaster, actually. So, just going to be 2 sets of racks at a bare minimum. They could just about mega this.
Yeah, that Battle Trance is so good late game. It's so good. When you have these type of items and you have that type of attack speed, I even felt like Pycat going that Satanic was like really safe. If he just went for a Daedalus, he could have, I believe, to hit harder, but playing it safe. And I'm not sure what RoX is doing right now. I guess one last YOLO fight.
Yeah, may as well. And not going to work out that well, as there's the initiation. We saw MSS take a spill. Misery there to follow it up with a Ravage. BZZ is down. MSS is on a mega kill streak. Probably just talking it over, but eventually they get around to calling the GG. And yeah, I mean, this kind of echoes a lot what we were talking about during the pregame and everything else. The idea that RoX's strength is how they're able to draft and how they're able to make the most of their compositions, but they were just missed the mark, man.
Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, they definitely had the right idea, and they did go for their timings. It just, they tried getting those 2 fights where they had to get a Rax, they weren't able to get it, and then just great hold by Mouz. And just the way that RoX drafts in general is they don't scale well into late game. So Mouz held, and they were able to win. That's pretty much how it ended.
Very methodical. That's the word I would use for Mouz. Like, they didn't execute as well as they could have early. They missed out on the laning phase, but they just held. They were able to bend but not break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's game 1 of our upper bracket finals. Keep in mind, the winner of this series directly seeded into the International 4 bracket, so a lot on the line. RoX.KiS drops game 1. Mouz just 1 win away from a guaranteed trip to Seattle. We'll see if RoX can turn the bagel into a breadstick. First time I've said it since I've been here. I so need to explain that at some point, not now. But yeah, we'll see if they can knot the series up, make it 1-1 and give us a game 3. We'll find out next here on our North American Hub coverage of the International 4 EU qualifier presented by Monster Energy. Stick with us. We'll be right back.